Hello and welcome to another episode of Drum for the Song podcast. I'm your host, Dane Campbell, and today's guest is the lovely Ciara Chinniah. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on.
That's an absolute pleasure. We've been talking about this for quite a while. Finally pulled the trigger, last week or whenever it was. Send the DM, let's get you on. Let's do it. So thanks for saying yes.
Oh, my pleasure. I like the look of your space there. It's well
It,
cool.
it is kind of cool. It is small. It's a bit cramped. I've got one electric kit and then one it's like the Sona Jungle kit with a
Yeah.
16-inch bass drum. You might be familiar with that. But I've got it with silent stroke heads and like low volume cymbals at the moment. The idea was before I became a dad, I wanted to create some more content, from home. Um, I struggle these days. I'm not going to lie. That's another podcast worth of information. But yeah, the idea was I could hook it up to the Yamaha EAD and create some acoustic sounding videos without destroying my neighbor's eardrums. Um, that was the
Nice.
idea. It's still there. My son likes sitting behind it and hitting things, so I'm trying to get him into the drums, and well, he's just naturally attracted to it because
Oh,
they're all over the place, and he's got his own electric kit, which I know he's quite young to have that, but I just want him to know it's there if he wants to play it. Um,
yeah.
it's in his playroom at the moment, so it's quite unusual.
How old is he?
He just turned 2.
Oh, that's
Um,
cute.
it is cute, yeah. He's definitely interested in it, and he's my wife's piano is in there as well, so she's got like a digital piano, so she plays. So he's interested in that as well, so he can go either way.
Love
Or
it.
I got
Maybe
guitar.
both.
Yeah, he's got his own ukulele, so various drumming, toys and stuff. But yeah. But anyway, enough about me. This isn't about me and my family. It's about you. Obviously, your mum. I think you got 2 children, 2 daughters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, how old are they?
So Quinn is 8 and Indy or Indiana, she just turned 6.
Oh, wow. Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, quite ahead of me then.
They're a lot of fun.
Yeah. So, like, one big thing I wanted to ask about because it has affected my life is like, how did your drumming career change when you became a mum? I know it was a while ago now, but if you could like explain, what you did before. I know you did a lot of educational stuff. You're actually a lot more trained than myself um, with the formal side of things. But yeah, what happened then?
Well, I wasn't sure, like back in the day, when I was pregnant, I wasn't really sure what I was going to do because at the time I was in a million bands, like as many drummers are, right? You go
Yeah,
to college and or you just learn from a teacher or whatever, and then you just become the drummer of this band, this band, this band, this band. And that was me, like gigging every weekend, sometimes, multiple gigs in a day. My husband Neil would come along and bring the cymbals and fall asleep. And
what? It's a bit harsh.
no, he's a talent. He can fall asleep anywhere.
I wish I
So
could.
yeah. So when I got pregnant, I honestly wasn't really sure what was going to happen because I I went counseling because I just didn't know what to do. Like
Wow.
I didn't want my kids to think that I resented them if I was going to stop drumming or anything like that. I wanted to make sure like I was super prepared to be a mum and present and yeah, I didn't really know what it was going to look like. And so I just kind of stopped for a bit and I still gigged up until like, what was it, 35 weeks or
Really? Wow.
something. And one side of me was in denial and thought, yeah, we fine. We'll still rehearse, won't we? And then the other half was just no clue what was going to happen and worried. Um, But things did change massively because I moved to Essex and I was living in London before then.
Right.
And then, yeah, the first month, 6 months of Quinn's life was just figuring it all out. And I had a regular job and I was drumming here and there, but it was very disorientating. And I remember feeling a little bit lost in terms of, well, what now then? What should I do?
Yeah.
But it just all worked out because I kept playing here and there. I used to go to a rehearsal room on a weekend, a bit of me time.
Nice. Yeah. Very
And
important.
yeah, I just kept pushing it. Now I feel like I should have not worried about it. I should have just chilled and enjoyed that time, which I did. But I definitely put a little bit of pressure on myself to still drum. But yeah, eventually I had this normal job, but then I got invited to play drums for a band. And I remember we went to Paris and I was really nervous about leaving Quinn, but it was fine. I had help and it was all good.
Yeah.
And I just thought, oh, this is possible. I can do this. But what I wanted to see more of is like I really wanted to be honest about it online because I wasn't seeing it anywhere. And I just thought, well, it is possible for me to still drum because most people I met were like, well, you're going to stop drumming now, right? Because you're going to be a mum. And I thought, well, do I have to? Don't really know. So yeah, it's been my intention to try and be transparent with that too and show, yes, I went to Paris. Yes, I played this really great gig, but I had to pump while I was there, or I was calling my husband and checking in, and my mother-in-law helped, and all the things that
Yeah.
make it possible.
Yeah. Not everyone has, the grandparents around and things like that. And it like that massively helps my family when I go on tour. They do step in and help a whole lot. So I'm really grateful for that.
Mm,
Because, on the flip side of things, like my wife really struggles on her own.
mm.
And when I'm going away. And so, yeah, I totally understand what it must be like. So thank you, grandparents.
Yeah, it takes a village. It really does. Um, but yeah, I think from that time, I gradually got back into drums and gigs and stuff. But then it also came really clear that maybe I could still drum, but just lean into the educational side because then I had more control
Yeah.
over everything.
Yeah. Your schedule and your calendar, it's up to you.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. And that's the thing I struggle with is like, I have to kind of, I mean, I'm in a band, there's five of us, four people might want to do a tour or a gig. One of us might not want to, but it's a democracy. So we end up doing the gigs. Even if one or two of us don't really want to do it. And I just got to deal with it, find a way to make it work. Not always easy.
Yeah, I relate.
No, I
Yeah.
understand. But yeah, so for anyone who doesn't know, they will by the end of this episode. At the moment, you're very busy running your own drum camps for women. I heard on another show that you've done a few mixed um, camps as well. I've never been to a camp, so I'm intrigued by how they work. What happens? How do you prepare? What should people expect if they go to one of your camps?
Well, what can I expect? A lot of fun.
Good.
um, yeah, I mainly do women only camps now. I have done mixed, but I don't know. There's like loads of joy I get from creating a really safe space for women and bringing women together. I think it's a nice vibe.
Yeah.
But how it works is when they turn up, I don't want to give too much away, but
Okay.
I'll,
Yeah.
I'll give you a little
You
insight.
don't have to.
There's two drum kits, and everyone has a practice pad. And I've also got these cool little plug for mine all bass drum foot practice pad, whatever you call it. So everyone now has like a bass drum practice pad and a regular pad. So that's been really cool. So whatever I set for them, we can look at the bass drum technique as well, not just on the drum kit.
Great.
And so it takes a lot of work, a lot of mental preparation for me, figuring out what the syllabus is, like depending on the level. And I need to come up with things that we can all do together, possibly like bonding things. Like I always do an icebreaker at the beginning, just get over their nerves and just muck in and be silly, because I think my goal is to make you feel as relaxed as possible, so then I can help and we can get to like what's going on. And people need to be able to mess up and feel free to do that. So I always try and make sure that the vibe is good. There's only so much you can control, right? And I can't control what people come into the room with, but I can control what goes on in the space. And yeah, I try and really vary it from some pad work, reading, and then getting up in pairs on the drums and doing things together, and then doing things one-on-one. So I have some time with each of them and can just see where they're at and see how I can help them. And yeah, I do that over a weekend and 10 till 5. And that's it. And I love it. Sometimes we'll have like a dinner, a welcome dinner on the Friday evening. And that's really nice.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of fun. It's really lovely. I love it.
Great. So if anyone is listening to this and they're like, oh my God, that sounds incredible, can they just like DM you or send you an email to ask about the next one?
Yeah. And you can get on my waiting list. Just go to ciaradrums.com and put your email in, and then I'll let you know when the next camps are coming up.
Excellent. That sounds lovely. Yeah, get yourself to one of those guys and girls, and I'm sure there's other people that do them if they're not in the like. Are they all based in Essex, or do you ones
do
in
travel
other areas? You do
sometimes.
travel, okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
like at the moment, I'm just doing them all in Essex because that's where I live.
Yeah.
But then I do one in Scotland, in Perth.
Oh, quite far away then.
Yeah.
So, do you like drive? Do you drive up there with all the gear, or
Heck no.
no?
That's like my worst nightmare.
Yeah.
No. The Echo Lab Studios. I don't know if you know Charlotte and Kerr.
I don't know them, but I've heard the name of Echo Lab Studios, probably from you, perhaps.
They're just lovely people, and they run that studio. And then I just thought, well, if I could use your studio and your equipment, then this could work.
Mm.
And I ordered some practice pads, got them delivered there. So it kind of worked out.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go back in the summer and do another one.
Apologies for interrupting this episode of Drum for the Song. I really hope you're enjoying it so far. I just wanted to take a few moments to tell you about my Patreon page. This is a place where you can support the podcast in exchange for some bonus content. You can head over to patreon.com/Drum for the Song. There are 3 tiers available at the moment. One is £3 a month, one is £5 a month, and the other one is £10 a month. Each tier grants you access to exclusive benefits, which include bonus episodes, early access to the main episodes, private Facebook group membership, merch discounts, discount on Motorhead beer, as well as a monthly competition to win Motorhead beer, access to Skype chats with me, asking my guests questions, occasional free gifts like drumsticks, free tickets to Phil Campbell and the Bastard Sons shows, and your name in the episode description. If you regularly enjoy the podcast and think you would enjoy those benefits too, please consider signing up. If you didn't already know, I do everything for this podcast all by myself. So I do all the contacting, all the research, all the interviews, all the audio editing, all the video editing, all the artwork, all the uploading, I write all the descriptions, I build the website, everything is just me. So essentially the money from the subscriptions helps me keep a bit of time free during my weeks so I can continue making the podcast for you guys. So again, that's patreon.com/drum for the song. Check it out and enjoy the rest of the episode.
Drum for the Song podcast.
And then the next thing I want to talk about, which is I'm assuming is a pretty big deal, and I'm sure it took a long time to create, is your book, which
Look at you.
I own it. It only arrived yesterday. I'm glad it arrived yesterday. So I haven't had a lot of time to go through it myself yet. But yeah, it looks amazing. I got to say, the presentation is fantastic. I own a few drum books. I'm not going to lie, I haven't spent a lot of time with them. But this one, the way it's written seems like it's more approachable to someone like me that maybe isn't that confident with, and I get overwhelmed when it's just notation. So I like the way that it's all explained in between. And for anyone that might be scared of not playing in 4/4, I think this is the book for you. So it's called Odd Times Made Easy. Mastering and enjoying any time signature from 3/4 to 21/16. So as I have not read the book yet, I have no idea what 21/16 is. I'm not going to ask you to explain it on the podcast, but I'm sure it goes into a lot of depth in that book, and it explains it and breaks it down into a tangible way for an average drummer to understand. And I think it's obviously there's thousands of drum books out there. I guess there is a little niche maybe for books in odd time. You'll probably tell me there's hundreds more, but I don't have any. Like, what inspired you to do this?
So what inspired me to write the Odd Time book is in lockdown, and before lockdown really, I was doing these like odd time challenges on my Instagram stories where I would just I'd just make up a groove in like 7, and I'd say, put the question box, what am I? What's the time signature? Put it in the box. And it just started for fun. Probably I was bored. And I got into the habit of doing it every week. And what I found was I was getting the same questions, like all comments like, I can't do odd time. Heck no, I can only play 4/4, like wouldn't even attempt it. Or I'd get people say, I'm not sure. I feel like it's this, but what am I missing? How do I work it out? And so I just thought odd time can seem like such a difficult topic. I know if I can get it, maybe I can explain it in a really simple way so that other people don't find it intimidating, and then it doesn't seem as scary. Like that was my goal really, because I just thought, yeah, there are some odd time books out there and they're great, but I hadn't seen any that just tried to make it simple and easy. So I just thought, why not do that? Why not write a book?
Right, yeah, you did it, and
It took ages, man.
Years and years probably.
But it was rubbish. That was me, because finding the time, being a parent, what a fool. Like, I was just trying to fit it in the evening, and in the evening you're so tired, right? Just want to like chill.
That's the time, you and your husband, if you get time together, that's just your little bit of time together, right?
Yeah, it's just me time.
Yeah.
And then it was just like hanging over me, like you should finish the book. And then I thought, let me do a sample of it and send it to some people. So then I sent it to Hudson Music, and he came back and was like, I don't know if we'll be able to help you, but let me come back to you. And then he emailed back and he's like, actually, yes, this is a really good idea.
Amazing.
We'll put it out for you digitally. And I was like, crap, I've got to do it now, which was actually really good. That thing of being accountable. But yeah, it took a long time. It's still not perfect. Like I'll look at it and I think, I want to change this thing. But
Yeah, but
it's good enough for now.
I think any musician, when like with me, when it comes to parts I recorded on albums, I'm always going to think, oh, I could have done this, I could have done that, but that's what it was at the time. And I
Yes.
guess it's similar with writing a book.
Yeah.
You have the benefit of hindsight, and yeah, maybe make a part two one day. I don't know if you need to. Well, I don't know what's covered in it yet, but you never know.
Yeah,
Or
exactly.
improved edition or whatever they say. I don't know.
Yes. Yes,
No, but
exactly.
it's lovely, and I'm looking forward to getting my teeth sunk in it at some point in time. But it looks like the kind of thing, like do you necessarily need to be playing at a kit to do the exercises in there, or can you do it with a pad or some of it?
Oh yeah, yeah. I think you could totally do it on a pad. Like,
Hmm.
as long as you can tap your foot and pretend there's a bass drum there. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be on a drum kit. No
Cool.
way. And I think it's just more getting a feel for it and going through some of them and realizing, oh, right, okay. It's just getting familiar with, I'm going to count to 5 in this bar. And
Yeah.
that's it. And then going, okay, if I feel good counting to 5, how would it feel putting the backbeat on 3? And then soon enough, it feels almost like natural,
Yeah.
like a 4/4 beat would be.
Yeah.
So I think it's more a case of that. Get familiar. You don't need all the equipment. You just need to practice that counting and how it feels.
Cool. Yeah. Once it clicks, doesn't it? I think with time signatures, and I don't class myself as an expert, but I've always found my way around them. I've just never really been in a project or a band that's been crazy with them. I've definitely
Yeah.
dabbled, and I've never found it too difficult, but I'm sure some people, it's a lot more difficult than that. I think I'm quite lucky, but I've never done 21/16.
Well, that's just crazy. It's a silly one, but I feel like if you go through the book, then by the time you're there, you'll get it. You'll already be like, oh, well, you just have
Yeah.
to group it into separate chunks and then it's
Yeah.
doable. If you just try and count 21, good luck.
Yeah.
I'm not going to count 21.
No, yeah, exactly. I guess you break it down. That's the whole point. And I like the way when I briefly read the book last night, but it mentions about leveling up. There's no point going to page 63 and doing whatever is in between. Work your way up, and then you'll just find the ones at the end easier. So yeah, great. Buy it, guys. Where can they? I bought mine on Amazon. It was really easy. So if
Yeah.
anyone's thinking, oh, they've got to go on some strange website and put the details in, just click buy it now on Amazon. And I think it took 2 days, maybe. I was away. So easy. Well done. Well done. Congratulations
Thanks.
being a published author. So that's a pretty big
Thanks.
deal.
Yeah, it felt very relieved, but I
Yeah.
also celebrated as well.
Yeah,
Big time.
it's got to be done. So I've been following you online for a while. So you've just announced like you've teased a new project coming up, kind of with mindfulness. And it sounds like some form of linking it with drumming. I'm not sure, but what are you allowed to explain about this?
Well, this idea pretty much came to me after the first ever drum camp I did, because a lot of the times at drum camp, some ladies would have like an emotional reaction to being able to achieve something they didn't know they could do. And I kept seeing it over and over again, and also just lots of inward work that needs to be looked at, like confidence. And me too, like, I've always struggled with confidence, and that's just been a whole thing that I've always tried to improve as I've gotten older. And it just felt like the next step, because drum camp is 2 days, and so many campers would say, it needs to be longer. Why can't we do it longer? And I said, yeah, I know, but I don't know how to do that with, my kids in school. And, realistically, I don't think that's on the cards for me yet, to do longer drum camps regularly.
Yeah.
And I just thought there is also something about just kind of therapy and connecting with, this is going to sound so woo-woo, but whatever, hitting the drums, many people say it's super therapeutic,
Yeah,
right?
I would
And
agree.
there's links there to some therapies, like do you know, is it I'm going to say it wrong now, EMDR therapy? It's like this eye movement therapy. I haven't ever done it, but it's talking about how you're using both sides of your brain, and apparently when you drum, it's a similar thing. So I'm so fascinated by all of that, and I just feel like, wouldn't it be cool to have 4 days where you can drum, and then we can do some meditation, and then maybe we can do some yoga, and maybe there'll be some amazing food for you, like really nurtured and looked after. Because I think what I always try and make people feel at camp is care, is like cared for. I've thought about you because I've got you a little welcome gift here, and I'm checking in with you all the time. And I think with the meditation, it's like the next step, because some people, and I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but if someone's learning, sometimes they'll go, "Oh, that was wrong." And they will just repeat that phrase, "That was wrong," or "No, wrong, no, wrong." And all of this like negative
Negative.
stuff. And again, it's going to sound hippy dippy, but I know it really makes a difference how I approach my practice sessions. If I'm going, "That was crap," I'm sorry if you can't swear on this podcast.
You can definitely
I've
swear
ruined
on
it
this.
for you.
You can definitely swear on this podcast. I think that's a very light word. I think you can get away with that.
But it's such a thing. And it feels like every camp I say the same stuff. And it's usually linked to confidence and just belief in themselves. And I can totally see the correlation between what they're saying to themselves. Why are they saying it? And it's, yeah, I think there's an opportunity to go deeper,
Mhm.
and really transform your mindset a little bit. And because there's such a buzz after camp of, "Oh my gosh, I did it, and this feels so much better," and "Oh, maybe I'm good at this. Maybe this is something I could do." And but then into, "That was crap, that wasn't good enough." And I'm not saying don't improve and don't look at what you need to get better at all, but it's the things that we say can hold us back a lot.
Yeah,
You
you can
know, like,
frame that differently. You can say, rather than say, "Oh no, that wasn't good enough," you can say, "I could try it again," or maybe I can,
yeah,
I could improve on that, instead of focusing on the negative words which your brain is creating. Phrase it
yeah,
differently.
yeah. And I just think, I know for myself, there's been times where I've held myself back because, yeah, I didn't believe, or I was worried, like so many mental blocks. And I just don't want that for them.
No.
I feel like, oh, if you can see all the great things that you're good at, then you can go for it, and get out of your own way.
Yeah. Amazing. No, that sounds fantastic, and I'll definitely be following that, because it's something I'm interested in separately to drums. I don't do enough of it, but I've kind of been trying to get in the meditation world. Um, I think it was a couple of years before COVID. Everything now is before COVID or post COVID, isn't it? But I remember, after sound check, before a gig, I kind of lie down in the bus or the van or whatever, just stick a guided meditation on,
Mm.
just to make me feel better, really, and keep me focused. And sometimes with drumming, you can make one mistake one night, and you'll focus on that part of the song constantly,
Yes.
even though you've played it millions of times before, absolutely fine. And it's just things like that. Like, it is like, especially when you're performing, I find a lot of it is mental.
Yeah.
Um, you've physically done it before. Yeah, you might be playing it on a different drum kit tonight, which might make you feel slightly uncomfortable, but you can do it. So I do need to get back into that. And I think, like I sent you a DM the other day about an idea I had as well, which was all in a similar field, and I think that would be a
Yeah.
helpful thing to do. But I need to put it into practice myself first, and maybe learn a bit more before I go and do that. But no, what is the? I should have written it down. The Instagram account relating to this. What is that called again?
So it's called the Drum Retreat.
How's it?
And I'm like hosting with an amazing lady called Lucinda Smith, who's she's incredible. She's like a meditation expert. She's a psychotherapist. She's awesome, and we share the same birthday, which is
Wow,
cool.
what a
Yeah,
coincidence!
I know.
It's fate
So,
there, definitely. Fate
right,
there. Yeah.
exactly.
Oh, that sounds amazing. Yeah, so good luck with that. I'll keep an eye on
Thanks.
that, and I'll try and share things when I see them come up as well, because I think it's really important for other drummers, whether they've even delved into that or even thought about it, something for them to consider and maybe be inspired by a little bit. I think that will help everyone going forward. So yeah, we're gonna try and wind this down a little bit now. I don't know if you've ever listened to this podcast, but I always ask every guest. Um, if you could start your own dream band with yourself playing the drums, if you could pick any musicians, dead or alive, to play the other instruments, who would you want to play with?
Okay. Oh, this is going to be a crazy band, but Freddie Mercury could do piano and vocals.
Yeah,
Maybe Prince can do guitar and vocal. Like, there's going to be like loads of singers in this band.
cool.
Freddie Mercury, Prince, maybe Alanis Morissette,
Wow,
and maybe that. Yeah, that's just us.
that sounds
Yeah.
fantastic. Oh, lovely. That's a good one. Yeah, old Freddie Mercury's come up quite a few times, as you can imagine. Yeah, Alanis, I don't think she's been mentioned yet, so that's cool. I like her, so yeah, brilliant. Okay, and yeah, essentially, again, this is something I've added to the last few episodes because I try and keep this podcast. It's not just for drummers. I've got a lot of people who are not drummers that listen to it, but I want drummers to be able to learn something from it as well. It's not just like an entertainment based show, even though there's been some entertaining guests on here over the years. But like in terms of like advice to maybe musicians and drummers, what's the first piece of advice that comes to mind that you would just recommend anyone that's a musician or a drummer consider thinking about?
That I think I would tell them to try and listen to their gut as much as they can and walk towards the thing that brings them the most joy rather than outside influences like, oh, you should do this, or you should go and drum for them, or you should play guitar for this person, or you should. Quite quickly you can end up doing something you don't actually love because you think you should.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
and then that can lead to someone who's got a decade-long career and they're like, oh, I'm really unhappy. Just try and follow what brings you the most joy. As hippie as that sounds, that's what I would say.
It's amazing advice, though. Absolutely. Yeah, I definitely met people that I know they play in projects, they're not happy, but they feel like a little bit stuck, perhaps.
Yeah,
And maybe they should
same.
have pursued something else. Or even
It's like,
yeah,
sorry
no,
to interrupt.
no,
It's almost like some of these people, I think they need permission to change. Like, it's
yeah,
all right to change your mind, and it's
yeah,
also okay to just change career and do something else. Like, I
yeah.
love what you're doing. I think it's super cool.
Oh,
You're in a band and you're the rock and roll
estate
estate
agent.
agent. It's so cool. It's just like,
It's
yeah.
unusual. It's tough juggling everything.
Mhm.
That's a long story. I'll tell you about this another time. But yeah, it was just thinking ahead. It's a backup plan.
Yeah.
Being a professional live musician isn't going to last forever. I know that, especially in the band I'm in, because of certain people's age and things like that. So it was just like, well, I'm not very good at doing anything else. Let's try certainly I couldn't just jump into a new career, you know. As you know, podcasting doesn't make any money. And I did want to mention your podcast, Drummer Mamas. Sorry, I should have mentioned this a lot earlier on. And that I've been really enjoying catching up with that, because you've also got some episodes with dads as well. So there's a combination of guests where you're interviewing mums who play drums, dads who play drums, and some really great stories. And I could vibe with a lot of people's stories on that.
Yeah.
So I recommend anyone checking that out if you're in a similar position to us. Maybe you've got young children, or you're going to have your first child soon and you're a little bit scared. It's really inspiring. So check that out, Drummer Mamas podcast. I got it on Spotify. I'm assuming it's everywhere else as well, and the usual places.
We'll have to have you on, actually. That would be cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
We'll book you in.
One day. Yeah, let me know. Slip into my DMs, as they say. You're already there, so that's a stupid phrase. But yeah, great. Thanks so much for taking the time to chat to me today.
Pleasure.
I'm looking forward to what you've got coming in the future. Really enjoy the content you make. All those little challenges, time signature challenges and things like that. I think it's really great to interact with your community. It's just cool. So
Thanks,
I think
man.
you're a really cool person, and I'm sure you'll be very successful.
Thanks.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'll catch you soon then. Thanks again.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
No worries. Cheers now. Bye.
Hey. Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Drum for the Song podcast. If you've enjoyed this, please consider liking the video and subscribing if you're watching on YouTube, or subscribe and follow wherever you get your podcasts. If you could leave me a review or comment, that would be fantastic too, as it helps other people discover this show. Please also consider sharing this with any family members or friends who might enjoy the content. You can also follow me on social media at Dane_drums or at Drum for the Song, or search for Drum for the Song on Facebook to follow the page and join the official Facebook group. If you'd like to support the podcast, you could purchase some merchandise from drumforthesong.com, or consider supporting me via Patreon from just £3 per month for additional exclusive content like bonus episodes, video calls with myself, competitions, discounts, and much more. Any additional support is always greatly appreciated, but I would like to give extra special thanks to my top tier Groove Master patrons, whose names are listed in the description below. My name is Dane Campbell, and thanks so much for watching or listening this far. If you're a drummer, don't forget to drum for the song.